Hello, welcome to Chapter 3 Podcast, the show for readers of science fiction, fantasy, and romance. This is Season 3, Episode 23, and our penultimate episode before the podcast ends at the end of the year. So today we're going to be talking about a couple of Netflix holiday movies, which has become kind of a tradition. It's like a fun reason to get to go watch them. So the two movies that we watched this year, because I've got to say, kind of slim pickings in terms of what was available, because I assume because of the strike. But
let's hope this is not a trend in the future.
Yeah, but we watched Best Christmas Ever and Christmas as Usual, so we'll be talking about those. But we also, well, I don't know. Normally, I would say if you want to join us, you can get bonus content on Patreon and channel membership.
Yeah, I don't know what you say now.
Well, or actually, we had somebody sign up on Patreon, which is funny. So you can, if you want to, like, go check out the bonus content before the podcast goes away, because we do have bonus content that we do every episode, which is fun. But the bonus content for today's episode, by patron request, Beth, we're here for you, is we're discussing the holiday romance novel Christmas Polar Bear, which is a polar bear shifter romance novel. So that should be fun. So that'll be our bonus content for this episode.
Beth found a way to finally make us both read this book.
I know. It's been
bought it forever ago when she recommended it.
I
forgot about it.
Sitting on my TBR for multiple years, and I'm like, okay, it is time.
Yeah.
So but so where do we want to start? Because
I think we start with the worst one.
Okay.
Which I think we both agreed on being the worst one.
Best Christmas Ever.
What were they thinking?
I don't know. What was that movie? I mean, we were entertained by it because it was so bad.
So I made two of my besties watch it with me over FaceTime. They were like, I want to watch a Christmas movie. I was like, well, I have two Christmas movies I have to watch. Do you guys want to watch this one? I made my husband watch
both of them with me. So.
Mine only had to watch one of them. He got lucky. And he still was like, this? What? He was very confused as to how we picked the movies, how we ended up here. I was like, listen, the strike. And he was like, oh, yeah. And I was like, yeah. We're just gonna blanket blame the strike here.
We liked Christmas as Usual, and we laughed together at how bad, or not Christmas. We laughed together a lot at how bad Best Christmas Ever was.
We were dying on the FaceTime call because it was all of us making predictions as to what happened to the child that has just vanished and has like
right.
And I was like, this is bad. But we were just like, what a waste of a cast.
Yes.
What a waste of a cast. What were they thinking? They had such a good cast.
The script was terrible.
Like, they just did Brandy so dirty in this movie.
They did. They really did.
I guess we should summarize it.
Like, nobody does that. Who pretends their dead child is still alive in a Christmas newsletter?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's so weird.
That was so weird. Who also, like, allows their child to be the one to put the thing into the GPS? The address into the GPS, because I guess that's how they ended up at her house.
Yeah.
Well, 2, I would never let my kid have that creepy monkey toy.
Though, because, like, wouldn't you notice that you're going the wrong direction? I mean, I know it was the whole thing was that, like, their family had a new house, but you would know the city it was in, you know?
You would think, yeah.
Or the state.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Well, first we couldn't even figure out what state they went to. We were like, where are they even going? Like, they left Arizona and there's snow now. Where are they?
Yeah. Well, and then the weird, sexual tension amongst different spouses was weird.
I thought that they were swingers for like 75% of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, they're swingers.
Honestly, that would have made a lot more sense, because otherwise it was like, I was like, this is like so strange and uncomfortable if it's not intentional. But then, like, I don't know. What were they doing?
It was weird. I feel like the best part of that entire tension was when she was like, do you think I'm pretty? And he was like, no. I was like, wow. Yeah. Wow. That was rude.
Yeah.
Kind of.
But it's also strange because he seems weirdly unbothered by the death of their child.
They all seem weirdly unbothered by the death of this child.
She's like, I guess bothered, but keeping it in, but he's more concerned about her and doesn't see. I don't know. It was the whole thing
It took me a hot minute. Like, because at first I was like, is this kid in rehab?
Yeah.
That was my first guess. I was like, this kid's in rehab.
That's what I thought. That was what I thought too.
Okay, because I was like,
they're gonna find out they're lying, and
he
went to rehab. That's totally what I thought.
Yeah, because I was like, he went to rehab or something weird, and then I was like, oh shit, no, he's dead.
But the rehab would have at least made more sense.
Mm-hmm. But then she wouldn't have driven into a sign that said. But also, like, who cared? Like, I'm sorry, maybe this is just me, but have you ever cared enough to be like, this person is lying? And want to uncover the lie that is their life? Like, I just don't. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Like, who are you hurting?
Right? Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, I think it had to do with the fact that she was jealous, but jealous because her husband clearly, like had a thing with her.
Yeah.
So, like, she's part of it seems like it's coming out of a place of in her own insecurity.
This is true.
With her marriage, which, like, there are people crazy enough to do stuff like that.
This is true.
Under that circumstance. So, like, that I kind of get but it's really unhinged. The other thing, and like,
listen, the snooping around, like, I was just like, this is a lot, lady. This is a lot.
And then we were dying at this. Okay, so, like, for context, my husband's a scientist, right? He's a professor. He's a scientist.
Oh God, I didn't even think about this part with him.
In physics, like, he does astrophysics, like, he teaches physics. So we were watching the scene where you see the the solar powered hot air balloon, and we were like, what the hell is this design? This design makes no sense. Like, scientifically, none of it made any sense. And we're like,
I wish I could have been in the room during this, because I just would have loved to hear him ranting about it.
Well, both of us were just like dying over it. And we're like, what the hell is the box fan on the side of it? What is that even doing? Why? How? This makes no sense. Like, none of it made any sense. I was like, this is.
And then. And that was like his dream. And I'm like, I still have never figured out how old this kid was. His dream was a solar powered hot air balloon
or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just don't feel like that's a lot of 13-year-olds' dreams. Solar powered air balloon.
It totally could be, but it also didn't make any sense. Like, the design made no sense. All the buttons, like, the way it looked, I was like, what is no scientist help.
The fact that I could carry a sleigh.
Yeah. Also, like, I was laughing. We were laughing because, like, that scene, I was like, I know you can't see it in the movie screen, but the audience can see the balloon right above the sleigh. Like, it's right there in the sky with the.
I know.
I'm like, what is this?
Well, it's not lit up like the star that it's supposed to be for the play, so nobody realizes it's there.
It made no sense at all.
Meanwhile, there's like a blimp around us, and people are constantly on next door like, "Did you see the blimp? There's aliens!" And I'm like,
right.
We literally, there's just a blimp hanger here, and there's a blimp that flies around randomly. Like, y'all calm down. Since
the movie screen cut off the balloon, clearly they can't see the balloon carrying the sleigh.
Yeah, duh. And I do think my favorite subplot of this movie was the kids trying to disprove Santa / prove Santa was real and harass this poor guy that's Santa at this market thing.
Yeah.
They did him so dirty. I was like, oh my God, you guys are awful.
I guess this is what you get when you have a genius kid who's trying to
the genius kid that got into Harvard at the age of like 7 or 8 or whatever she was had to have figured out Santa before this.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, that's just not a thing. Like, I was like, this child did not get into Harvard and still believe in Santa.
No.
Like, that's just not, like, those two things don't mix.
Because you can find information showing that it's not real on the internet. Like, I mean, like, it's kind of stupid.
I was like, this plot point is terrible.
Yeah. No, the whole thing.
And equal parts hilarious.
It was so wild, though. I mean, like, but it was so bad that we were having a good time laughing at how bad it was.
Yes, this is put it on and you're gonna laugh because it's so awful. And then you just then you get a little sad because you're like, why did we waste I thought Jason Biggs did a pretty good job in the movie. Yeah. I was kind of surprised to see him in this. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is fun. I haven't, I've not seen him in a movie in ages. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is a fun thing. And he's aged nicely. He's a cute looking guy. you know, Heather Graham, she looked good too for the most part. Her outfits were off, I felt like, from everyone else in the movie. But otherwise, like, she, like, you know, they made sense as a couple. We had people that looked, you know, the right age together.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, and then you have Brandy, and you're just like, yeah, you're going to sing 2 songs.
Right.
That's it.
And they were not super interesting songs. So, yeah.
It was just such a waste.
It was a waste of a good cast. Like, So I don't know who wrote the script or designed the look of that hot air balloon, because it certainly wasn't a physicist.
Shocking.
Like, nobody consulted with an actual scientist for this. They were just like, solar power, that works. Sure.
Who did write this movie is the real question. It does have a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes, so there's that.
Wow.
Oh, that's not what I'm trying to open. I was like, I'm trying to figure out who wrote it.
Who knows?
There you go, IMDb. That's what I'm trying to open.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just felt like this was such a, like, I knew nothing. We didn't really know much going in. We just picked, because we were like, well, what can everybody watch for the most part?
Mm-hmm.
Which is Netflix. I feel like it's pretty easy to access. And then it was like, okay, what
are the new things?
What is new and sounds decent? And
this was like, okay, looked good, and the premise sounded like it could be fun, but
yeah, and then it was just like the weirdest
movie.
Yeah, I was very happy I tortured my friends with it over FaceTime, because I was just always going, what the whole time. I feel like
this is exactly the kind of movie you need to watch with other people.
I tried to watch it on my own, and I like could barely get through it, so I was really happy when I convinced. I don't think they're gonna trust me next time. They're gonna be like, absolutely not.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it did have writers. At first I was like, maybe it was AI, but it was just 2 guys that wrote it. So maybe that's all we needed to know.
Of course it was 2 guys that wrote it.
One of them, it's his first movie.
I'm not. Am I shocked?
I'm not. The other guy wrote on Parent Trap. He also wrote the Noelle Diary that we watched last year.
Ooh.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. We didn't love that one either.
No.
So maybe he's just not.
Maybe he's not great. Well, movie. Also, I feel like the Parent Trap and this have some absurdity in common, but it works better because it's children doing it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You know, obviously, like if he was just like a random writer on it, or you know, one of the main people. I didn't look that far into it. I was just like, huh.
That was a retelling of an old movie.
This is true too.
That's kind of a different.
But yeah, I remember we didn't love the Noelle Diary last year.
So
really. I think we just don't vibe with his writing.
I think we don't. I mean, the Noelle Diaries was better than this, though.
It was? You're not wrong. It was. We still had surprise death. Well, we kind of saw the death coming, but there was death in that one too. Which, like, why do Christmas movies have to revolve around death?
I don't know. Also, why? Like, the rehab would have made so much more sense, and I think would have been more interesting, because then you catch her in a lie. But I think that would have worked better.
I love the when she found the Photoshop for Dummies book. Because everyone just, like, learning Photoshop these days would definitely just have a Photoshop for Dummies book
lying around.
And not be using YouTube videos to learn how to do things.
Of course.
Because it's definitely not where I go first for tutorials on how to do the software. No. I don't go to a search engine and find videos teaching me how. I go by the How to Dummies book. I was so bad.
Yeah.
I was happy that they helped heal her Grinchness, I guess we'll call it. Because she was kind of a Scrooge, kind of, you know what I mean? Like, not very cheerful holiday person.
Yeah, but I think she was also just unhappy with her life.
I think so too.
You know? I mean, which I think is relatable. I also don't know that I love the approach that this took for her story arc, to be honest, because she's made out to be such the sort of villain of the story, and part of it is I'm like, yeah, but it's understandable that she's she's kind of unhappy. She's not doing what she wants to be doing. She sacrificed her dreams so for her family, which is a thing that a lot of women do, but she's like middle-aged and is like, what am I doing with my life? And I'm like, that's like, but these two dudes wrote it and maybe didn't do the best job.
Shocking. Yeah, I just think it's interesting. Like, I don't know. I was interesting that she was the one that was like, no Christmas spirit.
Yeah.
But I was also like, at the same time, I didn't care. I had zero care for any of the people in this movie. I feel like by the end of it, I was like, yep, y'all are a mess, and I'm not here for it.
No. Yeah, same. But it was something.
It was something.
So don't necessarily recommend Best Christmas Ever unless you want to laugh at something just being really bad.
You need to go in knowing it's really bad.
It's really bad.
And no hope that it is good.
But if you find entertainment value from watching something that's really, really bad,
yes,
watch it. Because it's bad in a kind of entertaining way.
Rope your friends into it because you can all make up your theories. See if you agree with our rehab theory.
Yeah. This is the kind of movie you need to watch with commentary. That's the best, going to be the best way to go with it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. The other one we liked.
I liked the other one a lot more than this one. I had some issues with it still.
Okay.
But I still liked it way more than this one, and I think it was one that was a lot more enjoyable overall.
Yeah. So Christmas as Usual was a Norwegian film that's dubbed into English. So I think it's like this is where you can tell that there were not many American Christmas movies being made because of the strike. So they did. It's not the only one. I think they have others too that they pulled from other countries this year. So that I think is kind of interesting.
Which I did appreciate kind of though too, because I feel like it was nice to get a different perspective on Christmas a little bit, right? Because we got to see different traditions than we have here in the States. Like, why do they put flags on their tree? I don't understand, but okay.
But I thought it was cute at the end. They had like the Indian flag next.
That was really cute.
It was cute.
This one, this was a big improvement though from Best Christmas Ever.
I think it works as a comedy though too, because she's Norwegian. They tend to be very insular, and she hasn't told her family that the boyfriend, but now newly fiance she's bringing home is Indian, and like, man, the culture clash.
They're all just like, you didn't. Jashan is his name though.
Jashan.
Yeah. Jashan, yeah.
And they keep calling him Shazam.
Oh my God. But they all thought his name was Josh.
Yeah.
And not like Josh with an A. So that was interesting reveal wise. But I also felt like, see, my struggle with this was the thing that he confronted her on in the end, is that she didn't have his back. And that bothered me. Like, she couldn't, like, she should have warned him. My family doesn't realize, like, and I didn't do it on purpose. I just didn't think about it because, like, it was whatever. But I feel like if you're in an interracial relationship, you have to tell people that your partner, like, when you're taking them home for the first time, you should be, like, preparing them a smidge, maybe, of, especially if they're a very insular culture like that. Like, hey, this is this. Like, I'm bringing home this person, and this is, their thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think she was scared. Well, and I think that's the thing, is there was so much baggage wrapped up in Christmas for the family. I think she was nervous enough without, and then didn't know.
And the mom's inability to, like, not Google everything.
Yeah.
And panic, which I did understand. Yeah. I just felt like she still could have, like, prepped him a little better. I don't know.
Well, and prepped Jashan better as well.
That's what, like, both sides, like, she could have just, like, a little more prep would have gone a long way for not having a disaster.
But then you wouldn't have the disaster of the movie, which is part of like the idea.
I really liked him. I think he really carried the movie for me.
I liked him a lot too.
Because I think he, as a love interest and as, like, the, like, unfortunate victim to mayhem of not knowing the traditions, I thought he did a really, like, good job acting and playing the part well.
Yeah. And I think, she was really needed to learn to be more communicative because she was really private. Part of me does wonder though, because I'm not super familiar with Norwegian culture, and
Same.
this was made in Norway. It does make me wonder, is it common that people are more private about things and don't talk about stuff? Like, because
I don't know.
I don't know, because I wonder that might contextually kind of make more sense in terms
Yeah, I
of,
could see that.
yeah, of
And
her
then you
sort
get
of,
like,
because she also didn't say like, oh, hey, my ex lives next door and my mom still wants me to marry him.
yeah. Yeah. Poor Jorgen next door.
Jorgen. Yes.
Jorgen, whatever his name was.
Yeah,
I don't
Jorgen.
remember.
I think it was Jorgen.
Probably. I'm bad at Swedish and like Norwegian and all of those names. I read them and I'm like, yep, that's it. And then it does not stay in my brain. I felt bad for him in the movie too a little bit.
Yeah.
I did like the fist fight with Santa though. That was funny.
That was really funny.
And just like, I don't know, it was so like it. I do think if we had more like cultural context, it would have been even funner of a movie.
I think so.
But yeah, it did have like, you could just tell like she was so torn because she wants to be with him and she wants to be excited for their engagement, and they're like, her brother and his wife are like, do not tell mom this holiday season.
Yeah.
And like, it's the first Christmas without their dad.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, you maybe should have prepped him for that at least.
Yeah. Well, was it the first Christmas? I don't know if it was. I didn't.
One of the early ones without the dad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it was the first exactly, but it just seems like
they
were treating it almost like it was a. But I guess too, maybe it was that's how they kept him alive for themselves, as like the traditions, which were banana. I'm sorry, I could not do like 3 Christmases before Christmas. Teeny tiny Christmas and tiny Christmas and Christmas Eve. I was like, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like a lot of different cultures have other, like, I mean, like, I know like a lot of Latin cultures, Noche Buena.
Yeah.
Like Christmas Eve is like a big thing. And
but tiny Christmas was on like the 22nd.
Yeah.
And then they
celebrate Christmas on the 24th.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a whole celebration.
I just felt like 4 days of like build up to the 24th, and I was just like, this is a lot.
Yeah. I kind of feel like if you were from that culture, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that would be sort of funnier where it builds up tension of like, oh no, because you would know why he's messing things up, or like what to It was really funny too, the whole thing of like, he's like, I thought you weren't Christian. She's like, we're not. Why are you in a church then? Because it's Christmas.
That felt very like commentary. I know it's not commentary, but like that is such commentary on like what people talk about, like the fair weather Christians in the States or whatever, or the holiday Christians, like, they show up on Easter and Christmas.
And I think probably even more so in Europe, where like there are very few religious people, but maybe people go to church on Christmas because that's just what you do.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I get it. Yeah. Well, that church was tiny. Like, come on, everybody's not going to be there all the time. That church was itty bitty.
Yeah.
And him on the phone call outside the church. I was like, how did you not think they would hear you?
Well, also they were being so quiet. That was so funny too. I feel like there are probably so many cultural things in this that I'm like, this is fascinating because, like they're whisper singing the carols, which I'm like, that would be weird. Like I wouldn't do that either. Like that's,
Yeah. Yeah, the whisper singing was weird.
Yeah. Is that what they do? They don't like.
I don't know. I guess
maybe it's like respectful for the singers. I don't know. That's so. It's so interesting. Yeah.
I also loved how it really. I thought it did a good job diving into the like dynamics sometimes between like the in-law situation.
Yeah.
Like with the wife and the grandma, and how like she was like, they were telling the little girl like, well, you said I had to sing because like grandma likes it. And Grandma's like, I like when all the kids sing. You don't have to, like, and it's like this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh boy, we're dodging a bad time.
Yeah. It can be challenging. Well, I kind of liked too that he ended up being a catalyst for their family finally working through
Mhm.
their own issues because they also just weren't talking to each other
No, they
about
weren't.
their feelings
Her
or their
brother drove me up a wall, like most of the movie, I will say too, though. Just like
yeah.
laying on the couch while everyone else is doing things.
I was like, yeah, that tracks.
No, it does track, but it still drives me up a wall. I'm like, I don't like this
Oh
dynamic.
my God. I was dying at the scene with the tattoo.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the tattoo scene was every white girl with random kanji or
It was so
Chinese
good.
like
She's like, it
on
says
her
inner
too, like
peace. And he's like,
Japanese Chinese. Yeah,
it says white girl.
says white girl.
I love how she's like, well, that's very accurate. I am.
Yeah, y'all don't get random languages tattooed on you unless
No.
you speak it.
Well, and I've heard plenty of other horror stories of people being lied to about
Mhm.
what gets tattooed. And like white girl is not the worst it could be, for sure.
Nope. Nope. I've heard horror stories too, and I continue to be like, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Unless
Yeah.
you are friends closely with a native speaker. If you don't speak it, that
Where
will,
like you have researched what it should look like yourself,
yeah. Like
you
you
know.
gotta be doing a lot of work there.
Yeah. Don't just,
Uh
you know.
I love that that was the reason too, like when he made the Indian food and they're all like, it's too hot. And I was just like, I didn't think, but then they're eating that pork, like belly fat thing.
Mhm.
And I was like, that looks so unseasoned.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, never mind. That's why this stuff. Well, I mean, also when they're like, yeah, we love the Indian food
And
and the
how like
Chinese
under the
food.
table she was like secretly putting seasoning.
Well, it looks like it didn't even have salt and pepper on it. Like, come on
No.
now.
It looked very
Come
bland.
on.
But then that's wild too, those spice company names. I was like,
That was bad.
"Oh my
That was,
God."
yeah. I was like, that is not good. That's a bad
It
time.
feels like this had quite a bit of pointed social commentary, you
Yes,
know? I mean, like,
100%.
it's not a culture I'm super familiar with, but I feel like for people who are from there, it's probably intended to be social commentary.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I mean,
Oh,
it felt that
and
way.
the dog that doesn't like foreigners.
Yes.
There was a
That
lot of like,
that was a I was like, "Oh boy."
mhm, yeah. I really liked this one. I also thought it was just more it was funny but more heartfelt,
Yeah, I
you know?
agree. I think it had a lot more to like about it. And
Mhm.
it even like with the cultural like disconnect that we have to it cuz like we have no idea.
Right.
It was really fun. And I loved when he was like sharing his family's traditions like where they'd count down to midnight and
Yeah.
just be like Merry Christmas and play
Yeah.
this song. I was like that's so cute. Cuz like I grew up like a lot of my youth like we were in South Florida. So like I was around a lot of Jewish customs and stuff, which was
Mhm.
always interesting. And we would hear about like what they do on Christmas Day and stuff. So like we started going to the movies. We added in those different kinds of things that people do. It's more of a thing now than it was like in the 90s. But yeah, like it's that thing where it's like it's always interesting how like non celebrating of that holiday what they do because like they get the day off too. Usually they're usually
Yeah. That
doing
it's
other
different.
things. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's kinda interesting 'cause, um, anytime you're blending families, you're having to figure out Christmas traditions, and then when you have cultural differences, it's even
mhm,
more so. And I feel like, I mean, my husband is Black and from the South, and
mhm.
so we had
Yeah, you're gonna have
um, very
yeah,
different family approaches to the holidays. Nothing as extreme as this movie, but
but
it was interesting seeing how they sort of blended the cultures and blended the
mhm,
traditions at the end of it. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what you do. You find a way to sort of like blend everything
yeah.
together and make your own traditions. And
Yeah, you
I love,
incorporate the things you love.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love Christmas. I do remember though the first year that I had did Christmas at my in-laws. It was so hard because it was not all of the things that I had spent my entire life having
Yeah, I can see that.
every Christmas. Yeah. So it was definitely an investment.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Like, and that part's nice. Like, I don't have that with the in-laws. So like, I just gotta have all my stuff because I don't have in-laws, which is like, you know, it's fine. But like, he still has like his like things that he wants to do that he considers traditions. So like, we got to mesh it all more.
Yeah.
But it would be that way too. Like, you know, the Christmases we would spend with my grandparents or we wouldn't spend with my grandparents, very different.
Yeah.
And then it would depend, like, were my aunts and uncles there, and you know, they were gone, you know, Christmas to go to the mass and stuff like that because they were Catholic, and the rest of us were not Catholic. Yeah. So, like, you know, stuff like that, like, was always interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love seeing people how they mesh like their traditions because like that's what I love Christmas too. Like I love the tradition of it, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So
I think it'll be interesting to see too what my kids carry forward. Because like, I mean, especially when I think about, because some of it is traditions we sort of brought together, but then there's things I made up that have sort of stuck. Like, okay, like one of my favorite things, and they love it too. It's fun. I don't know where I got the idea one year when they were little, and I just kept doing it every year. Where like I hide all of the stockings and I do a scavenger hunt with clues around the house to find stuff.
That's cute. I like that.
It's fun. So when they were really little, they were all just like pictures because they couldn't read. And now that they can read, I can like, you know, do more written stuff.
I love that. That's cute. See, and we're just starting to make like new traditions with like my nephew, which is like very fun too.
That's cool.
Which my tradition is just like I give him all the things. Because that is my job. I'm like, here is everything you want, basically. Although
we also take the kids shopping for before Christmas to buy gifts for everybody in the family, like give them a budget.
Yeah,
and
that's fun. Yeah. I kind of want to kidnap my nephew to do the dollar store thing where he goes and buys gifts for his parents at the dollar store.
Do it. It's fun. Also, it's cute. Like it's funny. It's fun to see what they come up with because we don't give them big budgets. We usually take them to Barnes and Noble because we don't have like a dollar store here. But yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to try doing with him at some point. But yeah, like that's the fun stuff. Like it's just fun, and it's fun to be cozy.
Yeah, and like decorating the tree, and like I buy an ornament every year that has some kind of like a connection to a memory of what happened. So it's like decorating the tree is like all these memories, and it's I don't know, it's
exactly.
Nice. Yeah, I love
and
it.
It's cozy. Like I feel like the reason January is depressing is we take the tree down and the lights down and everything's darker. And I'm like, this is no fun. We need to keep everything up a little longer.
I will leave it up into January. Like it's got to come to usually by February. It's got to be down, but I'll leave it up.
No, I do too sometimes because I just like I just like having the tree on and the lights because like I said, it's just like And here, like living out where I live, like everybody's got their yard decorated and stuff. So going to see those lights is nice, you know.
Well, I've also started trying to do a little bit of more just seasonal decorations so that there's something kind of, I don't know, like festive a little bit. So even once the tree comes down, I have like some greenery and like a deer and I don't know, you know, like.
No, I get it. I'm bad about changing it. So
yeah, I'm usually like late at changing it. So it's like, okay, our spring, summer is now fall, winter. Like
like it'll be like, it's no longer about. It's been 2 months since Valentine's Day, and you still have like cute heart stuff up. Yep, I forgot. It's fine. Christmas will like come down before February usually, or by February. But then it's like everything else I feel like is delayed, and then like August hits, and I'm like Halloween. And then November hits and I'm like Christmas. And then it's like everything else just like migrates through.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
I love holiday stuff. I'm still sad about the selection of movies. I did find a movie that we should have watched.
Oh.
It's called A Cowboy Christmas. It's on Lifetime Movies, and apparently there is boning in it. So we messed up. I didn't know about this movie until literally like a couple days ago, and I was like, oh my god, I haven't watched it yet. I will be watching it. But you know, we're getting there. We're evolving. Our Christmas movies are evolving.
Yeah, well, and I saw a couple of newer of things too that I have, and some of it is like there's a couple older Netflix Christmas movies that I
Mhm.
noticed that I'm like, ooh, I haven't seen that yet that I kind of want to watch.
Yeah.
Like one that looks kind of cute, The Christmas Calendar. Have you seen this?
I don't think I have.
It looks kind of cute. It's like this woman, she inherits this magical advent calendar and like
Maybe
she
I have
opens a
seen
thing and it'll
Mhm.
give her like a toy version of something that predicts something that'll happen in her day or
Okay.
something she
I think
needs
I
and then
saw the preview or, like,
it
watched the
looks
thing
cute.
play on it at
Yeah,
one
it
point.
looks
Yeah,
cute.
that sounds cute. I need to rewatch all of the Vanessa Hudgens universe because we're up to, like, 4 movies or something now.
Oh my god, they're so wild.
I
Also,
was like,
I love the
"Okay."
like Christmas Prince movies. They're also so bad
Yes,
but hilarious.
agreed.
Yeah. I just
Those are
I
fun.
enjoy like a super cheesy holiday movie.
Same. It's, like, my favorite thing.
Mhm.
Like, as soon as they kick off, like, into November, like, Hallmark, if I'm visiting my mom, that's, like, all we have on. We just have Hallmark movies on
Yeah.
nonstop. Like, it's just so fun.
Yeah.
And then you just get to, like you
I
get to
love
giggle
it.
at them because 'cause they're silly. Like,
Yeah.
they're just silly
Which I
in the
think is
best way.
funny because, like, growing up, my parents would rewatch a lot of movies, but, like, a lot of their favorite holiday movies are more serious,
Mm,
and
mhm.
I prefer, like, a funny one.
Yeah,
Whereas
I don't need to
they're
watch
going, like, It's a Wonderful
yeah, I
Life,
was like, I don't need to watch It's a Wonderful Life ever again.
Christmas Carol, like,
Nope,
it's
I'm
like,
good.
yeah,
I will watch The Muppets Christmas Carol because that
yeah,
is the best Christmas Carol.
that is a good one.
Um,
I also actually I really enjoy White Christmas.
yes, I do too.
It's it's
It's
absurd,
fun.
but I love it, the, like, sisters song.
Yes, yes,
It's
the sister
great.
song is so funny. That's just a fun one, and, like, my favorite, like, old one is, um Meet Me in St. Louis by
Mhm,
with, Judy Garland,
mhm,
which is, like, kind of a Christmas movie, kind of not,
mhm.
but a lot of it does take place around Christmas,
Yeah,
so I do love that one. But it's also 3 hours or something, like, it's very long.
yeah,
So it's, like, a once a year watch.
that is long. Yeah, and even, like, White Christmas is a little long, but it's fun, I'll
Yeah.
watch that usually. Actually, it was funny when I was growing up, without fail, every time we would watch it, there's a scene um, where, they go outside and they're just, like, dancing and,
Mhm.
like, dance on the boat and, like, well, like, the whole that you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about? At
Mhm.
the
Yes.
So, like, every time that scene, my dad would be like, "Yep, that's exactly what it was like when I met your mom. That's what we did." Just like as a joke, which, like,
Yeah.
clearly
You're
not,
like, "Of
but
course you did." Yeah.
every year he would make that joke.
That's funny.
Yeah.
We all do that. That's what we all do. We all just go dancing all
Yeah,
over the place.
always. That's
It's
what it's like.
Yeah,
So
always. It's the best. No, it's I that's the best part of the holiday season. I think it's just like throwing on these ridiculous movies and
mhm,
giggling your way through them.
mhm.
Not crying. No, it's a wonderful life. We don't
We
we
had to
don't need
watch it
tears.
every year. So I haven't watched it in a long time. It's too sad.
Yeah, no. I just like exposing people to the Muppets Christmas Carol. That's my favorite.
It
So
is fun.
because I've met some people who've never watched it, and I was like, you are missing out
Yeah, it's pretty
big
fun.
time.
It's a good one. So, yeah, I feel like this has just turned into let's just talk about the holidays,
I think
but
it's fine. I have to ask though, are you a Polar Express fan or no?
mm, I've never
Same,
seen it all the way through. Something about
same.
it always like weirded me out.
It has really weird uncanny valley-ness
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, I don't
Mm,
like it. It makes me
mhm,
deeply
mhm,
uncomfortable.
mhm.
But I think it's fascinating that it's blown up into the thing it's blown up to, which is like taking your kids on a train ride and all this stuff.
Really?
Do you not know about this? Yeah, there's like Polar
No.
Express trains you can go on with your kids now.
That's so
It's a whole
interesting.
thing.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
Hmm.
It's a whole thing. They
Yeah,
like
I've never seen
perform
it all the
like
way
there's
through.
like
This is
performers
weird.
on it and stuff. Like you go in your pajamas. It's like they took my nephew and I'd seen it because some of my other friends' kids like had done it.
Mhm.
Um, and I was like, that's interesting. I was like, I don't like that movie. It's like, I don't like that movie. But I guess it's kind of weirdly become a classic thing.
Interesting.
I
I
don't know.
guess. Hmm.
I don't know enough. It just freaks me out. Uncanny Valley. It's too
You
much.
know what though? It's not the only Christmas kid thing that I think is weird. Like the Elf on the Shelf thing. Mm, Don't like it.
I think the Elf on the Shelf is... I've seen people do it and it's fine. But sometimes I feel like it's like the Santa cameras. Have you seen those? Like the ornaments that are like a Santa cam? And so it's like a little camera on it. And it's not an actual camera, but like they make the ornament look
They
like
make
a
it look
camera.
like it.
So Santa's watching you.
Oh,
I was like, why are we putting our kids in a state of surveillance?
Thing. See, I never did that. I was always just like, yeah. It was never like, are you good enough? No, I don't like that.
I like to I would tear. My dad had got an elf at work. Like one of his HR person like would hide it around the workplace and terrorize him with it because he's just kind of grumpy.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fun. So like sometimes when I'd visit, I'd go find it like in their house because they have it and go hide it for my dad to find later. But like, I'm like, no. I like the inappropriate Elf on the Shelves. Those are funny.
Oh.
With like Barbie and like a stripper pole and things like that. These are not for children.
Oh no.
And I was like, that's funny because this thing is creepy and that makes it less creepy.
I never liked it, so that's not a thing.
So do you just tell your kids like the elf just doesn't come to our house, it's fine?
They've never asked about it either.
Okay.
I probably would just, I would probably say like, no, it's weird.
But like, we do not invite the fae into our home, children.
This is also the first year that like both of my kids know Santa's not real. So last year, my younger kid figured it out because I don't lie to them if they like are seriously like, asking. So.
Well, you can gauge. I feel like if your kid's asking to like ask, or if they're asking because they're questioning it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I would have never said, "Oh, yes." I always was like, "Well, what do you think?" I don't know. Like, I never, because I just I
got a TikTok of somebody telling their kid about it because they asked like the right question, basically, and then teaching them about the magic of Santa and getting to be Santa. And I was like, that's a really good way to handle it.
Well, and that's kind of what we did. Well, it's interesting too, the different responses. My older kid, when he figured it out, he was like very proud of himself. Like, yeah, I'm so smart. I figured it out. Like, and then my younger kid was upset. I mean, they got over it, but at first they were very upset that you lied to me. And I was like, well, and I was like, so I kind of explained like, well, I did, here's what I did. And also there is, and so they know now that like, I'm Santa for our our family, and now you get to help be Santa, but don't ruin it for little kids who aren't ready to know yet.
Yeah,
it's fun. And now this year, so last year, Josiah was kind of upset about it, and this year they're like, well, are we gonna leave out cookies, Mom? You have to do better because last time there was a hair on the plate, and like you can't do that. And I was like, okay. And I was like, well, it's not real yet. They're like, yeah, but I still want to do it because it's fun. Can we have cookies this time too? It's not fair. You guys get all.
That's adorable.
I was like, okay,
that's sure. So cute. I love it.
They did the same thing with the tooth fairy because they lost a tooth. And I was like, and they were like, wait, if I don't put it under my pillow, will I still get $1? I was like, yeah, we still, and they were like, no, I like the surprise. I want to keep doing it. So I'm like, okay.
That feels right. I mean, that was like, because my brother was, 8 years older than me. So like he was out of, but then he got to be Santa with me. So I think he enjoyed that part a lot.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. I think it's so cute when they like figure it out and they're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I've been lied to.
Yeah.
Which then makes the elf in the camera feel even weirder to me. I'm like,
I know. Well, it's funny though. They're like, wait, this year they were like, wait, so Mom, since you're Santa, it's like you always know if we're like, how do you know? I'm like, I just know, I guess. Kids are funny.
You're such a goose. I love it.
One thing that I did do that I'm happy about, because I never really liked the idea that all the gifts come from Santa, because it gets into weird stuff with socioeconomic differences with different families. And then also parents aren't getting credit for, for like, I don't know. So I always just did, they would get one gift. Santa brought them each one gift, and everything else was wrapped from Mom and Dad.
I like that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
So also I was like, Santa is not taking credit for all of this.
No, and it just makes it easier also to like avoid the weird conversations that could happen at school.
Yeah.
If they still believe in Santa and
Right.
the one kid is getting like a $500 thing from Santa and every other kid got a 75, you know what I mean? Like that's, it's just like, you know.
Right. Whereas, so that's why it's like Santa did one big gift that you could ask for, but there were budgetary constraints.
Yeah.
Because that was like, Santa has a lot of kids to get stuff for. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's interesting. My favorite is we'll get 2 pictures. So daycare will get a picture of my nephew with a Santa and Mrs. Claus. It's like he usually looks happy in, and then they'll take him to get the picture. And like I just I have a calendar like that we do that we get every year at Christmas from them with him, and it's him just glaring and sitting in front of Santa, glaring, pissed off. And I was like, tell my brother, I was like, yeah, I flipped the calendar and I forgot about the picture of him last year with Santa. He's like, wait for this year's. And I was like, is he pissed again? And he's like, you'll see. And I was like, great, I love this. I think the year before he's crying. It's the usual, like they're not forcing him, but it's just like we keep getting him just like not having it. But he's like death glare at the camera, like, how dare you? He's not on Santa's lap. Like they didn't do, you know what I mean? Like either it wasn't like a like take my child but like he's sitting in front of Santa. And I was just like, oh man, I love these.
Oh, it's so funny. Oh
that's like my favorite part of the holiday too, is like when I get to see my friends' kids with Santa and they look pissed and I'm like, oh, it's a bad day to do it, I guess, but it happens. I mean, I get it. Don't talk to strangers, but hey, you can talk to this one weird stranger that has a big beard and wears a red suit. It's fine.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, we hope you all have a wonderful holiday season and enjoy whatever things you're doing, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. But we usually do on my radar. I only have one book, honestly.
I only have one book as well, so I wonder if it's the same book.
It might be.
Did it already come out?
I think it just came out.
Like last week?
Yeah.
Is it Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Wow. Look at us.
Amazing.
I was like, I bet we have the exact same book.
Yeah. I really want to read it though. It sounds so fun.
It does sound really fun. I've heard good things. I'm excited for it. But yeah, that's all I got because there's nothing coming out.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Heart by Joe Segura. So this is rival archaeologists must team up on a secret Aztec expedition, or it could leave their careers and hearts in ruins.
Indiana Jones romance. Indiana Jones romance.
Indiana Jones romance, and it's like Latine and
fun cover.
Really great cover.
Solid cartoon cover. Like yes. I was happy when I saw it. I was like, that's a good cartoon cover.
Yeah, I do want to read this one. It looks like a blast.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah, there's not much in December. Everything kind of slows down. So
we had our like that 5th was like the last big release day, I think, for the month, and then
there's almost
and it wasn't a ton of romance.
No, I mean, I think there's a couple things on my radar that are coming out, but it's not. I don't think it's any of it's romance. Let me see. I'm curious now. I'm like, was there anything else even coming out in December? There's not much.
I don't feel like there is.
Oh, actually, you know what? It looks like there is something coming out December 26th. Although I DNF'd the first book by this author.
Oh no.
I don't know if it's good.
So
which I was bummed about because I wanted to like it. This is On the Plus Side by Jenny L. Howe.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember we had a discussion about this book. Like
yeah. I didn't really I don't know. I didn't really like her first book, but I want to like plus size romance, but I didn't like the way she did the first one. But this one is supposed to be What Not to Wear and Queer Eye Meet All the Feels.
Okay. Interesting. Curious, but not hopeful.
Hopeful? Yeah, same. I would kind of be waiting to see if somebody that I trust reads it and really loves it, because I didn't really like her first book. So it is weird that it's coming out December 26th. So it makes me wonder how good it is, like that they're pushing it to December 26th.
Yeah.
It's the day after Christmas.
Yeah, that seems weird.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yikes.
I have questions.
Okay. Well, we'll see how the reviews look for it once it comes out, I guess.
We'll see. But yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Wild.
This is the quietest month of releases.
It really is. So, huge thank you again to all of our patrons who've supported us. Y'all are amazing. And we will be doing bonus content this week talking about Christmas Polar Bear. So tune in for that. It'll be coming before long. And we will be back for our final episode of the year. We're still figuring out the details. It's theoretically supposed to go up December 26th, the best and worst books of the year, but we've had a couple of things that have had to move things around. So stay tuned. And there will be one final episode talking
at
about
some point before. Listen, it'll happen.
It'll happen.
It just might be late. It might be early. Who knows?
We don't know. It might be this month. It might be early January.
Yeah.
We need to nail down. This is like a busy time of year too to coordinate, especially for all three of us, schedules and stuff. So we are working on it, but we will at some point come back and tell you about how things have gone.
Yeah.
And thank you all for listening and supporting. And you can always follow us on our individual channels. We're going to continue to collaborate and do read-alongs, and
we'll be back probably in February with the Midnight Ruin.
Yeah, I would expect
us.
So. Yeah.
So things like that will continue. They're just not going to live here. They'll live on another channel.
Yes. So we have other exciting projects we're working on. So, well, thanks everybody, and bonus content will be available to patrons in the next few days. Thanks for listening.